Hello, everyone. Not really done this before, but I thought I'd do a little bit of a live stream. Yeah, it's crazy times we're having. It doesn't seem like things are getting any better. And it also is the case that most people are feeling a lot of desperation in the world. We kind of feel like there's no way to improve things or make it better. I think that's universally the case, pretty much everywhere, not just here in North America, also in Europe. Kind of feel like we don't have a lot of options. And things are just getting more and more crazy every day. As we know, then recently, the right wing influencer Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And there's been a lot of mixed kind of reactions to this. I mean, there's a lot of people who kind of cheered it on, which is just nuts, right? A lot of people are wondering how the hell we got here. Many people are blaming it on the right. Many people are blaming it on the left. But none of these things help us or make the situation any better, right? So I'm just going to ask you a question. How many of you out there, when Mangione shot the CEO in the back, applauded him? Probably not many of the people on this channel, but there's loads of people in the States who applauded his actions. Said, yeah, stick it to the CEOs. Do you realize how dangerous this way of thinking is? Somebody said to me, said, oh, I deserve to be shot, right? The CEO deserved to be shot. What does that world look like? That world is a world where if I think you're bad, then it's okay for me to kill you, shoot you in the back. That's where we've gotten to in the States. You've heard of the term extrajudicial killing, right? For example, there was a speedboat recently that was not far from Venezuela that was blown up by billions of dollars worth of American hardware, right? All the ships, the men, the missile itself probably cost $1 million. I don't know. Somebody who's into these sort of things must know, right? If we live in a world where we can just do that sort of thing, just based on an opinion, then of course this is going to be the result. We need somebody who can defuse the situation, who can make things better. We need somebody with the voice of reason, who can try to calm people down. That's not what we're getting. From the White House, it's the radical left, it's their fault. How many people on the right spoke out when recently these two Democrat lawmakers were assassinated? Very few. There's that funny phrase they've got, the leopards eating your face party. These people say this a lot. If you vote for the leopards eating your face party and your face gets eaten by a leopard, then you don't have a right to complain. If we live in a world where anybody we disagree with, we have the opinion that they are terrorists, we are of the opinion that their company is engaged in nefarious profiteering, if we have the opinion that uh, somebody who's involved in MAGA is necessarily evil, then it's okay for us to shoot them. Then if somebody else has a negative opinion of us, then they also have the right under that same logic, right? They also have the right to take our life. I mean, all sentient beings are the same, right? We all just want to be happy. We want to be happy and we want to avoid suffering. MAGA is like that. The far left people are like that. You know, people, eco warriors are like that. Dictators are like that. We all have the same underlying wish. I think for many of us, the problem is we don't recognize that others are in the same position. An immature sentient being, ordinary sentient being, is one who wants happiness, doesn't want suffering. Nothing special about that. What makes them immature? Well, they apply themselves to the causes of suffering, thinking it will bring happiness, right? If you're fed up with the world, if things are getting to be too much, then throwing your hands up in the air, giving up hope is not going to help. Also, falling back on tribalism, resentment, and violence is not going to help. It's only going to make the world a worse place. My personal opinion was that Charlie Kirk was really divisive. He was a real shit stirrer. And I also think that he relished the attention he got on social media. But that doesn't mean I think he should be assassinated. I think that's a reprehensible thing to do. And the guy who killed him was just he's like a kid, right? He's like, 22 or something like that. Confused. Our actions have consequences, but also our words have consequences. So if we live in this world where we're giving permission structures for negativity, right, for violence, then we don't have a right to complain when that turns on us. But sadly, what happens is that people don't get the point till it's too late. This happened in Europe. I mean, Europe's had this long history of hegemony and just dictators and authoritarians, evil kings, some good rulers as well, with centuries of resentment, warfare. A lot of it was just disputes between different royal families. This is a big problem with Donald Trump, right? You have to have compassion for the guy because his mind's like a child. But everything he does is just personal. If he resents something, then he will do whatever he can against that person. For example, his issue with windmills, right? Why does he always go on about windmills? It's not complicated. If you understand a little bit about his psychology, he was building a golf course in Scotland, and the local council wanted to erect some windmills. And he thought it made his golf course look ugly. So he took him to court and he lost. So it's just a personal grudge. So he does everything he can to disparage windmills, right? But it doesn't justify hatred. Hatred consumes your own mind. We think it's directed at others. When we hate or resent somebody, we think that our hatred goes out and harms that person. What it does is it's like a cancer on your brain. It steals away all of your happiness. In order to make a difference in the world and to make positive changes, then it takes courage. It doesn't take violence. Violence is the domain of bullies and cowards. It's the last resort, right? Those who haven't got intellectual capacity or capability who end up resorting to violence. What we need to do is spread our influence. Do what we can first to change our own minds, to abandon our resentment, our greed. And people who do that become what's called spiritual practitioners, right? And others see their qualities and aspire towards that because they see that individual is content, peaceful, happy person. They see the individual with a stable mind who is virtuous, as experiencing less trauma and difficulty in the world. As it's said by the Buddha, right? Hatred can never overcome hatred. Only love can overcome hatred. And as Cody says, well, hatred and fear, these two go together, right? Really, we fear for our own life, and so we lash out. We fear losing the things we want, so we lash out. We have to understand that the world is in the state it's in because of our tendencies, our habitual tendencies. And something that's dominated the modern world has been this thing. They used to call it me culture. I don't know what it's called now, but it's this strong focus on the individual, but especially me as the individual. Like I get to have the stuff I like, right? I have choices, these sorts of things. And we become so focused on the self as a consequence, and the world has become a much darker place. What's the basis for that statement? Is there a valid basis for that statement? Well, in terms of the Buddhist teachings, then Buddha taught that the very foundation of all our suffering is this fundamental ignorance, this belief in me and mine, or self-cherishing. From there, everything progresses. That's something I noticed living in the East, is that people think about their community, their group. It's like in the monastery, then personal possession is a very weak concept. The young monks and nuns, they kind of just share everything. Like there's a motorcycle, it doesn't belong to anybody. They kind of, if you need it, you use it. You know, they don't get upset when you touch their stuff or something like that because they don't see it as being just theirs. It's like we share it. We're brothers and sisters. We have to understand we're all in this together. It's like we're on a ship, right, in the middle of the ocean. And if I drill a hole in the bottom because I dislike the guy next to me, I'm going to kill myself. That's what we're doing. And everybody deserves a chance. I don't know if you believe in capital punishment or not. Whether you do or not, then there's something called due process, right? Because you can make mistakes. I mean, dropping a bomb, like a big Hellfire missile, on a fishing boat, it could have been drug dealers, who knows, as the first recourse to action is a bit excessive. And it sort of like opens up a can of worms, they say, right? Pandora's box. If you say, well, that's okay, well, it's also okay for other people to do that then, right? Would you want to go fishing in the Caribbean these days in case you're misidentified as a drug dealer? And sure, right? We want to blame the drug dealers. Okay. They're reprehensible. They're terrible, right? They profit out of other people's misery. But why the hell are they selling all these drugs in America? It's because we've got so many drug addicts. Why do we have so many drug addicts? It's because we've got this bad way of thinking, right? If there was no market there, then they wouldn't be shipping this stuff. They wouldn't be risking their lives to send this stuff to the States. And why is America like the biggest market in the world for drugs? Because there's so many people who have got strong desire. There's so much mental illness. There's something fundamentally wrong with our society. And what the Buddha taught is it's got to do with self cherishing. The solution it's taught is to think about others. Somebody says, because drugs are amazing. Well, actually, drugs aren't anything specific. It's like that for everything in the world. It's only identification that makes something good or bad, right? One man's nectar is another's poison. Some people like modern art, some people like classical paintings. The object itself doesn't possess any inherent value. Drugs can be used to cure diseases, right? And they can also destroy someone's mind. It's like that with anything in the external material world. What is important is our outlook, the way we relate to things. And so if we just react, for example, somebody on our side gets shot, and so we think, well, that justifies violence against the other side, then the whole thing, it's like a snowball, right? Rolling down a mountainside. Eventually, a small snowball can create an avalanche. That's where we are. We're on the precipice now. What is the next step? How much further do you want this experiment to go? So, whether or not you want my advice, I don't know. But if you do, my suggestion is the first thing to do is to tame your own mind, right? Because what propels us in the mundane world, and also what propels us in the bardo, the afterlife, is our habituation. And the more we cling to our strong ideas of good or bad, the more we are deluded, intoxicated by our identification, our narrative, then the more susceptible we are to the winds of karma. And it's said the mind detached from the body is like a leaf blown around in the wind. If you hate the right, then think about Charlie Kirk's family, right? He's got, I guess, brothers, sisters. He's got a mother and father. I don't agree with his policies. I don't agree with his approach. I think a lot of what he did was just to get social attention because it made him rich and famous. So he was controversial, he was divisive. But I'd be very happy to have a debate with somebody like that. I certainly don't want to go and kill them. It's not okay. Political violence is reprehensible. It's to be avoided at all costs. If we give in to our resentment or hatred, then the world just becomes a darker and darker place. And if you haven't got sufficient mental control of your own, then the first thing you should do is stay away from social media. Limit your time on these sources. It's just like somebody who's a drug addict, right? Well, they have to avoid places where people sell drugs, where there's people taking drugs. Somebody's an alcoholic, they can't go near a pub or a bar. We are addicted to samsara. And our craving, our feeling that things aren't right, we want more and we want to get rid of that which we do not want, perpetuates our suffering. The Buddha taught, be easily satisfied in a few desires. I know the world feels crazy and it feels like there's nothing we can do. But a lot of our way we imprison ourselves is through our outlook, our way of thinking. It's really important for you to identify this. I mean, many people say to me, "Oh, I see you working out in the forest, the chainsaw lama, and I'd love to, but I can't. I'm trapped here in the city." The other day, I was just looking at Google Maps, right, all over America, and how much nature there is there. But we imprison ourselves. Like, to give you an example, most cities in America, maybe the really big ones, it's a bit difficult, but most places you can get a bicycle like for free even. You see them on marketplace, old bicycles, things like that. It's not going to cost you a lot of money. I mean, even the homeless people around here, most of them have bicycles, right? You can get on that bike, you can ride out into the countryside, go to the beach, reconnect with nature. Living in cities, living in your social media echo chamber, in your bubble, just makes your way of thinking very perverse and corrupt. It's like a poison. And the people who are sort of guiding this narrative are no better. They're the oligarchs and the billionaires. You need your own headspace. Part of the reason why so many people are so ill is because they feel trapped. And that feeling of being trapped makes them more trapped in the world. But you have to understand you always have an option. There is hope and there's always something you can do. For example, get on a bike and ride 20 kilometers out into the countryside. Sit under a sand dune or in a forest or go to the beach. Part of what makes us so sick these days is because we've lost touch with what's important in the world. And in our desperation, in our fear, then we give rise to anger, resentment. We see all the stuff we like on our mobile phone, get a new computer, get a new iPhone, that sort of thing. And it just gets our desire going like salt water. And so our emotions become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Peace, happiness, well being in the world will be gained once you learn to control your own mind. And in order to do that, you need to cut away all the conditions that carry your mind away like a leaf in the wind. That poor boy, I mean, he's a criminal, right? What he did was horrible. Who shot Charlie Kirk? He's just a kid. He's been messed up by this narrative of division. polarization in the United States. As I said before, there's no us or them. We are all in it together. There's this planet floating in the middle of space. It's got a limited size, billions of people, and we've got nowhere else to go. People who are selling you this dream, right, of living on Mars are just lying to you. They're deceiving you. It will take 300 years before we can colonize Mars. And that's a near planet, and it's a poor one as well. If we can't make it here together on this planet, then we're doomed. And we're not going to succeed by killing each other. It's like putting a bunch of lunatics in a locked room with knives and clubs and seeing what the result's going to be. Most people sell this narrative that competition is what brings success and survival, right? That's what motivates people in business. That's why they work overtime, because they think they're going to become a millionaire one day. It's not like that. Success comes from cooperation, coming together, not going apart. We have to pool our resources. And primarily, we have to direct our concern and our love outwards towards others. Because this is the supreme cause for awakening. Why is that? Because it's what allows us to lose our self cherishing. I'm sorry for ranting at you all, but I just had to get it off my chest. We all agree that the world has become a very dark place, but it can get worse, and it's up to us whether we want to push that needle a bit further or turn things down a bit. At the moment, everyone's just trying to turn up the temperature, right? Eventually, the pot's going to boil over. And the best way to calm down a room of hysterical people is for yourself to be very single minded, very stable. We have a very strong herd mentality. And if somebody starts getting upset, then everybody else follows suit. But even if there's a room of 20 people and they're all having anxiety attacks, and there's one person there who's very calm and self assured, then that can bring the temperature down for the entire room of people. Unfortunately, the person at the head of the most powerful country in the world at the moment is turning up the temperature. He doesn't know he's coming or going from day to day, right? He has no skill and he acts like a big child. So that doesn't make it easier. But there's only one of him, and there's billions of us, right? The oligarchs, the billionaires, the leaders are very, very few. The people have the power. And it's in our interest to protect this earth, this planet, this life that we have. And also in order to help others to reduce the harm that we cause, not just to humans, to animals, to the environment. Think about those who will come after us in the future, who will inherit what we have. Have a long term view. Don't be short sighted and selfish. So, thank you for your attention to this matter. And until next time, see you later.